Hey, welcome to the HR Happy Hour Work Break. You're here live with Trish and Steve. Hey, Steve Bose.
Hey, Trish McFarlane, how are you?
You know what? I was going to say I'm good. I'm not. I have misplaced my glasses, but I thought maybe you would enjoy taking a few moments to see the kinds of glasses that I have available in my desk.
Okay, I would enjoy that, I think.
Like the look? No? Not feeling the yellow?
In case you need to do any spot welding immediately after the show.
I don't even know what these are for. So that's in my desk. So then I have is anyone out there like me? Do you have like 20 pairs of readers? The readers, they actually work really well, but they don't look very good. They're so flimsy, they like fall right off your face.
Okay.
And then I have my super cheap Amazon find. I got like 5 reading glasses for probably about $10.
Nice.
So I don't know. I think I'm going to have to go with these for the moment, just so I can sort of see what I'm doing. I look really goofy.
I don't have reading glasses per se, but I have like 3 different pairs of just normal glasses, and I do alternate them throughout the week. Sometimes throughout the individual day, I'll just use different ones for different purposes. These are my oldest ones, I think, but I still like them. But yeah, good stuff.
Remember back over the summer, I tried to get contacts. That didn't work out.
Yeah, I remember the contact experiment.
Jeez, no. Contacts didn't work. They're too difficult. I don't have time for that. So
I'm off the contacts myself. I got just too just tiresome, and I got sick of it too a few years ago. So I'm out on contacts, Trish.
Out on contacts. All right. Hey, listen, obviously we don't want to do a whole political show, but are you following the whole election thing? Like
a little.
I
checked the news this morning only, was busy today, but I did have a couple of election things I wanted to talk about, unrelated to the big things. There were a couple things that I thought were interesting, and also workplace things. A couple real quick ones that happened yesterday. The first one was in California, where Proposition 22 passed. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this one, because obviously it's not your state. You wouldn't have been caring about it maybe, but Proposition 22 essentially it validates Uber and Lyft and Postmates and those other types of gig platform companies who want to keep their workers, classified as independent contractors. The other side of that proposition would have forced those companies and others like them to classify the workers as regular full-time employees, or just regular employees, whether they're part-time or full-time, and then get all the various benefits associated with that are prescribed by law, essentially for full-time or for regular employees. It was a bit of a compromise. The gig workers will not be classified as employees, but they will get a few other benefits and certain other like minimum earning protections, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a bit of a compromise, but kind of a win for Uber and Lyft and the like, because Uber had pretty much said, we may not be able to exist in California if this proposition doesn't pass. So that was two other real quick ones, Trish. Florida passed a ballot measure increasing the minimum wage in the whole state of Florida, $15 per hour.
Okay.
So that's pretty significant. Lots of localities. Other states have raised minimum wages. Lots of cities have raised minimum wages. We know the federal minimum wage hasn't been raised in over a decade. Right. So that was pretty interesting that passed. And one more, Trish, 5 more states passed laws eventually allowing recreational cannabis use, which I don't really care where you stand on cannabis or not. I really have no opinion on it myself. But again, that kind of impacts work and workplaces, ones essentially who test workers or who like to test workers, who feel like they have to test candidates and or workers. So those were the 3 kind of election-y things that I thought were kind of interesting from a work and workplace perspective.
No, that's great. I actually hadn't heard of any of the 3. So I'm glad that you kind of dug around and found some that were workplace.
Leave it to me to not really be that interested in who wins president, but like, what's the minimum wage going to be in Florida? I was interested in that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in like we've said before, we're both pretty private on our politics. I guess in this day and age, in my head, I'm a little surprised that it takes this long to get an accurate count. But then just even yesterday, you talking about having to fill in a ballot with little circles with like a pencil. I know where I used to vote, you had to like poke a little metal thing through a paper ballot. Yesterday or 2 days ago now, when I voted, it was all electronic, like touch screens. So yeah, you can see where not having the technological advances in different locales, it certainly makes it a longer process. So
yeah, it's certainly different
right?
everywhere I've ever gone. It's always been a little
Mhm.
bit different, right? How it works, the
Yeah,
machinery, if there is machinery, just the process.
sure.
I guess it's good that the states kind of have control over it, or maybe I don't know. I don't know enough about it to say like how it should really work, but yeah, hopefully it'll sort out itself soon. And I didn't really see much news today because we were a little bit busy.
Mm.
Um, but I haven't seen, like, I know all like stores in different places were boarding up and all that stuff. I didn't hear of any news about like anybody going crazy or making trouble or anything like that.
I haven't heard of anything yet. I mean, again, I think it could happen, but hopefully those things will not happen. I mean, obviously I live near St. Louis. It's a very volatile city in that regard with rioting and so forth in the past for many reasons. And so hopefully our businesses here on the Missouri side of the river will fare well with that.
Now,
Everyone
I
else.
know, yeah, I know we don't really talk about it too much. We're not super political kind of people, just geeks like that. But did you watch the news last night? Did you follow the results as they came in, or did you like kind of ignore it and do something else?
A mix of both. I mean, I'm curious. Obviously, I think it's a right that we have to vote, and we should do that and be interested in our in the politics. As small business owners, you and I know there are many things around taxation and just the way our businesses will be handled that would be very different from one side to another. So that's obviously something that comes into play. And then just as people, right, and our own situations with loved ones and whatnot. So there was lots of interesting issues I was following. Living in Illinois, we tend to be a blue state no matter what. And so I was really interested in more of the other races that were going on in my state to see how that was going to impact things. And so, yeah, there were a few surprises, not too many in Illinois, but yeah, so I watched. I didn't, again, I figured it would take, I thought by maybe 2 or 3 in the morning we'd have some sort of answer, and we didn't.
Right.
But no, just before coming on here, I did check. And again, depending on what channel you're looking at, I looked on like 3 or 4 different channels before coming here, and the numbers are off a little bit on each one. So I don't know who has the right number right now, but in all of them, Biden is ahead according to at least, CNN, Fox, MSNBC, and I forget the last one. Oh, ABC, the ABC like national channel I checked. So yeah, the numbers vary, but that's looking like at least 3 million more popular votes for Biden as of the current count. So we will stay tuned like the rest of the world. Right?
For sure. Yeah.
Well, listen, I have a different topic though, other than election. And I want to know, have you noticed that all fast food restaurants are sort of starting to look alike? I don't know where you
I would
live.
say I have not noticed, because I must admit I have not been in a fast food restaurant in quite some time. So I have not noticed.
Right. So if you're listening to this, tell me if this is crazy or not. But I started to notice that when I go, there aren't a ton in the town I live in that have been redone, a few, but some of, just in the St. Louis area, metropolitan area on the Illinois side as well, a lot of McDonald's are redoing, a lot of Wendy's, because Wendy's had a very specific sort of aesthetic to it. And now Wendy's looks much more like the new McDonald's. And then I noticed that some of the Taco Bells around are now, like, the color is different and the building is much boxier. It looks more like the new McDonald's.
Can you tell though at the Taco Bell at 3 a.m, which is pretty much the only time one would go there? I wonder.
Well, the reason I bring it up, I looked it up, but I am gonna have to put my glasses on here, and I will tweet this link out. There is a video.
Put those welding glasses back on, maybe.
On YouTube from March of this year called "Why All Fast Food Chains Look the Same Today." Cheddar explains, and the reason it's actually interesting, at least it's interesting to me, maybe you, but is that when restaurant chains go to an architect and start talking about what they need, right? They want to be safe for the guests that come to eat there. So of course it's going to be brightly lit, right? It's going to have lots of windows. They want to know it's clean, so lots of big windows so that you can see inside the restaurant really from any point and see that it's clean. It's a clean restaurant you'd want to take your family to, and it goes into it on and on, right? There are all these criteria that restaurants think you need to have a successful restaurant nowadays. Well, it turns out that then drives a change in how they all look, which start looking very similar. The reason I'm bringing it up is we hear this a lot with software, right? If you're a business and you need HR or payroll software, often when you start trying to compare, if you didn't have the logos on them, sometimes it would be really a challenge to tell why, like what's different, which one is which. And I'm not naming any vendors at all. However, I mean, do you see that? You just did a bunch of demos. So without naming anybody, did you see that like there were several that just kind of all start having the same?
That's a good point. I think you get some sort of kind of return to the mean a little bit and how they look. You even see a lot of similarity in some of the terminology that different vendors will use. Yeah. So you'll see the same concept in a few different places for sure. And that's natural, right? Like say in a payroll system is a good example, right? There's been a big surge in on-demand pay capability, right? Allowing employees early access to pay, perhaps even access to their earned pay whenever they want it, right? It's a great feature. Pretty much all the payroll companies have built it by now. It works kind of the same in every manifestation that I've seen of it. And they even call it kind of the same things. And I've seen that quite a bit. And sometimes when we did the top HR product stuff I did all summer, I saw the same kind of thing 4 or 5 times. And we kind of picked, well, this is the best version of this thing. I've seen a lot of it. I thought this was the best execution of a given idea. So it makes sense too, especially in this industry where employees, right? It's not uncommon for sales, business development, product, executives, et cetera, in these types of HR tech companies to go back and forth amongst other companies, right? So it's not uncommon to have a person who is at company A, then they go to B, then to C, then maybe back to A. It happens all the time, right? And so there aren't a ton of secrets maybe, right, across especially the larger vendors because of all that people moving back and forth.
Yeah. So I think what it comes down to, though, then, if you're comparing it kind of to the fast food situation with architecture, that's where you really do have to differentiate on what it is that you're selling or servicing, right? At the
end of the day, it's about who's got the better burger, Trish. It's not really about who's got the nice windows.
Who has the better burger, who has the better fries, and it all comes down to brand. And so it's interesting because, again, there are certain vendors who spend a lot on branding and certain ones who don't. And I do think we're going to see more and more. My prediction for 2021, based on my non-scientific look at architecture of fast food chains, is that you're going to have to spend more time and attention on brand. And whether that's you as a consumer or whether it's you for whatever product you're trying to sell, it is important. Brand is important because, again, if the way that people want to consume it becomes very standardized, right? If the look and feel kind of become very standardized for a period of time, you're going to have to differentiate. So I hope we see more differentiation back into the functionalities, right? And what it can actually do for you, what the results are. We've kind of gotten away from that for a few years in the HR market. So anyway, that's my analysis based on fast food architecture. There you go. It's pretty geeky. I get it.
I prefer White Castle. I don't know if that was part of the question.
No, you know what? I think that's one of those things like your whole spam versus whatever. What kind of ham was that?
Taylor ham. It's fantastic.
Taylor ham. No,
I bought it yesterday.
People either love White Castle or hate it. So I love White Castle.
White Castle fries only come in one size, as noticed by the legendary Beastie Boys.
Do you know what I went to first like a week ago? I went to Rally's. It was late at night, and literally in Illinois, like nothing is open anymore hardly. Late at night. It was 10:30. Okay, it wasn't late, but
that's my bedtime.
It was late in pandemic land, we'll say that. And I just so I went to Rally's and got fries. They have some of the best fries ever. Like seasoned fries. They're very good. Anyway, that's all I've got.
All right.
Well, thanks everyone for listening. Please continue to send us your comments. We love them. We'd love to see what you tweet and also the emails and DMs. Keep them rolling in, and we will be back here tomorrow. Hopefully there'll be a finalization of sorts on our election. we can talk about that a little bit. And I don't know. I'm sure Steve's got a few other interesting nuggets tucked away.
Got plenty.
All right. We'll see you back here tomorrow, everyone. Bye.